So the New York Jets are at it again. This is the Zoo York Jets Aura Circus Part 2. Part 2. In the off season, actually more towards the preseason I think it was, I made a video on the New York Jets, and I called it the Zoo York Jets because everything that was going into the season with the New York Jets sounded like a circus to me. An absolute mess. Players doing dumb things. The coaches trying to put players at different positions. People on their team just saying dumb stuff. Look, the point was, when I looked at the Jets before the season started, I didn't like anything that was going on. Plus, the addition of Tim Tebow, I thought was going to mess things up. So speaking of Tim Tebow, today they had reports on about 10 players from the New York Jets speaking out about Tebow and saying how they believe Mark Sanchez should remain the starter and how Tebow actually is terrible. Here's a quote from a player. Simply what I just said. He's terrible. A defensive starter told the Daily News. They didn't say who it was. It was an unnamed player, but he was a defensive starter. So a player says he's terrible. Cool. One player, right? Wrong. There's a lot more players who are saying a lot of other stuff. Let's see here. Here's something that's probably of importance about Mark Sanchez. Jets players told the Daily News that they agree that Sanchez should remain the starter. They take that stance despite the fact that Sanchez has an NFL worst 52% completion percentage and has been intercepted in the red zone 4 times, also worst in the league. Me personally, my opinion on the Jets and their quarterback situation before I go further here, I'm not a fan of Tim Tebow, and I think you guys know that. I've established that already. But when a team is 3-6 and you have a 2% chance of making the playoffs, and what you're doing right now isn't working, and what Tim Tebow did last year with the Broncos when they were losing, I believe they were 1-5, and he made a playoff run, and he took them into the playoffs, why not mix things up and give him a shot and see what happens? Because you're not doing anything right now that's going to get you anywhere. And the only argument to that is, people would say once you give up on Sanchez and put Tebow in, it's over. And that partially I believe is true. But you're trying to, it's a win now league. If what you're doing right now isn't working, you got to try something else. And when you have an option with Tim Tebow behind you, why not give him a shot? Again, Tim Tebow, I believe, is not an answer to be a franchise quarterback. And you know what? Neither is Mark Sanchez. So once you give up on Mark Sanchez, I think it's truly time to start looking elsewhere beyond Sanchez and beyond Tebow. So if the Jets ever do put in Tebow, let's say they're 3-10 and they put in Tebow, that doesn't count because they have no hope of making a playoff run. But if it is right now, let's say they put him in this week at 3-6, there's a chance that the Jets give up on Sanchez. Now, that's just me. Here's more quotes here. This is from a Jets official, which I thought was interesting, which says a lot about the receiving corps. A Jets official told the newspaper that the options Sanchez has to throw to in the passing game are garbage. A big factor in the quarterback's poor statistics. I've seen better receiving corps in college than we have on our team, another Jets source told the newspaper. Interesting, because I do agree with that. Santonio Holmes has talent. Santonio Holmes is a big mouth. Me, I wouldn't like Santonio Holmes on my team, even though I think he's a decent receiver. Stephen Hill, rookie receiver, they just brought him in. They definitely needed to bring somebody else in at the position in the draft, which they did. He's contributed somewhat. Other than Stephen Hill and Santonio Holmes, who do the Jets have at receiving at the receiver position? And you can't say Dustin Keller because he's a tight end. Jeremy Curley, I don't really see him as an elite anything besides maybe a decent returner. But look, receiving, definitely agree with there. They need help. Here's another quote. When asked whether the Jets could turn their season around if the team changed the offense to a zone read scheme, tailoring the attack to Tebow's strengths, the players did not think it would work And a player quoted, "We cannot win running that stuff," he told the newspaper. So they don't believe what Tebow did in Denver will work in New York. That's interesting because they haven't even really given him a shot, so they don't know if that will work. That's what their opinion is. Like I've mentioned, my opinion stands. I think if they do start Tebow, they give up on Sanchez, but they are better off starting Tebow only because what they're doing now isn't working. They're at 3-6. If they want any kind of shot at the playoffs, they start Tebow. If they don't care to make a playoff run, they want to stick with Sanchez and they want to keep Sanchez on their team for the 2013 season, don't put Tebow in. Don't start Tebow. Those are the two, I think, options that they have, and right now they're sticking with Sanchez as their coach has stated. So that's what I think about the Jets. Again, this is not coming from the media this time. This is coming from within the locker room. So I thought that was interesting. I thought I'd give you guys my 2 cents on it. Let me know what you guys think. Throw your comments down in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I'm out.